Sid and Marty Krofft. These guys were responsible for some really nutty Saturday morning kids shows. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, The Bugaloos, and let's not forget Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. But my favorite show, and the one that really kind of freaked me out the most, was Lidsville. So without any further ado, here are 5 reasons why I believe that Lidsville is one of the greatest kids shows ever. The first reason is that nutty, crazy premise of the show. I know, at first blush, it does kind of appear that it's a retread of H.R. Pufnstuf. But look deeper, and what the heck, look sideways if you want, and you'll see that there is a whole lot more going on. While H.R. Pufnstuf was clearly inspired to a certain extent by The Wizard of Oz, Lidsville seems to take its inspiration more from Alice in Wonderland. Yep, Sid and Marty Krofft definitely made Lewis Carroll proud with this one. Apparently the idea came to Sid Krofft one day while he was going through his vast and extensive hat collection. All of a sudden the idea came to him. What if all of these hats came to life? Okay, I know, it's nutty. But I think it's just as plausible as that common belief that the Krofft brothers were big partiers and they came up with these ideas while partaking of certain substances, which, by the way, they vehemently deny. Anyway, the premise was great, and so was the cast. 18-year-old Butch Patrick was a nice bit of casting given his prior television role as Eddie Munster, but the 2 standouts were Billy Hayes, playing against type as Weenie the Genie, and Charles Nelson Riley. Hayes had gained quite a bit of fame playing Witchy Poo in H.R. Pufnstuf, and it was great to see her doing a different type of character. While watching this as a kid, I had no idea that Weenie and Witchy Poo were played by the same actress, and I think that says a lot about Hayes' range as an actress. But as good as she was, no one matches Charles Nelson Riley as Hoodoo the Magician. This comedian and actor literally chewed up every scene that he was in. He was so good. It is a shame that when the character did return years later on other Sid and Marty Krofft shows, Riley was no longer the actor portraying him. Reason number 3 is the theme song. Holy cow, this might have been the longest theme song ever on a Saturday morning kids show, and quite frankly, it was great. As a matter of fact, as much as I love the Bugaloos theme song, inserting photo of the wonderful Bugaloos right here, right now, I think I might like this theme song better. Written by the same guy who had worked on other Sid and Marty Krofft ventures, Les Sarvis, the theme song provides the horrifying details about how young Mark ended up in crazy, wacky Lidsville. As you might guess, it's his fascination with magic matched with equal amounts of curiosity and snoopiness that get the best of him. The weird part about this song is that I have literally spent hours on the internet trying to figure out not who wrote this masterpiece, good job Les, but instead who performed it, and I can't find anything. It's a shame that this performance will appear to go uncredited. The 4th reason for Lidsville's greatness is the Krofft brothers' willingness to go dark with the premise. The show had a handful of genuinely scary moments, including the opening sequence that literally had me losing sleep as a kid. And again, going back to Charles Nelson Riley's manic performance, yeah, he was funny, but he was also pretty darn scary as well. Way scarier than Witchy Poo. Before we get to reason number 5, can I just point out that like all Sid and Marty Krofft shows, this one had some great merchandising tie-ins. Long before George Lucas reinvented the fine art of selling stuff to kids, Sid and Marty were doing a pretty good job on their own. Lunchboxes, comic books, and Halloween costumes even. Yep, they knew what they were doing. I personally owned a couple of those comic books. In fact, those Gold Key comics were really fun to read. They were different than DC and Marvel. Frequently they were movie and television tie-ins, and they felt like, well, B-movie equivalents of the big guys. Still, I ate them up, especially the Star Trek comics that came from Gold Key. But wait, we're talking about Lidsville here, so let's get to my last reason. The number 5 reason that Lidsville is so great, which is that, much like Gilligan's Island, young Mark would never be rescued. There was no hope. Hoodoo was just toying with him, like he did all of the other inhabitants of Lidsville. He was at his core a cruel villain, which led to a true sense of danger in every episode. Come to think of it, that might be why the show was so darn scary to me as a kid. You just knew deep down that Mark was never going to see his family again. So that's it. Were you a fan of Lidsville? Whether you were or not, tell me why in the comments section below. And while you're at it, I would love a thumbs up, and I'd be honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.